Every time at the AMEE conferences, people ask me, what does AMEE do in between the conferences? We have a big conference one year, a big conference next year, but what does AMEE do, and what could I gain from being a member of AMEE for that period of time between the conferences? One of the main things which we do in AMEE is to run a series of courses, and Claire MacRae, who's with me now, is here to tell us a bit more about the suite of ESME courses. Claire, thanks for coming to speak to us all and to tell us a little bit about what AMEE does offer under the ESME banner.
Okay, so we have, I suppose, three categories of courses. There are the online courses, there are the face-to-face courses offered at conferences, and the face-to-face courses also have a separate set of masterclasses which are much shorter and aimed at people at a slightly different stage of their career.
So there's a whole suite of different topics which one can learn about, and this is to a certificate level, or is it not quite at what we might call a certificate level as far as the university was concerned? So
our aim really is to market a course that is maybe would help people to prepare for a certificate, but we're not offering a certificate in medical education. This is for people who are not ready yet to go on and do a full qualification for whatever reason, or maybe they've done one already and they want to just have a refresher in basic skills. So the ESME course is, the main ESME course really is an introductory level course for teaching, but we do see a real split in the audience there. Some people are at the very start of their careers. This is their first trip into medical education. They may be preparing themselves to go and do a master's in medical education or a postgraduate certificate. And then other people are very established in their careers. Some of them might have already done a qualification, and they're really looking for an update, a refresher, and a chance to discuss their practice with other teachers.
So what AMEE is offering here are a suite of different topics within medical education which would be of relevance to attendees of the conference throughout the year, and each course lasts how long?
So the online courses are between 8 and 12 weeks, depending on the topic that you choose, and then the face-to-face courses run at conferences. So they work out maybe equivalent to 2 to 3 days of teaching, but then there's other work that you would go away and do, reading and work in your own practice setting to prepare for the assignment that you will submit if you want the certificate for that course.
We've been using the word ESME quite a lot without explaining what it means, and I'm sure that's my fault. ESME really stands for Essential Skills in Medical Education, and that really, I think, sets the bar and tells us what we're talking about here. We're really wanting attendees of the conference to think, here's stuff I can learn which is essential for me as a medical educator in wherever I am. And of course we have people from different disciplines, isn't that right, doing the course?
Yeah, so it's quite exciting. We have a real range of different health professions, and not even just health professionals. We're seeing an increasing number of administrators who want to find out more about how this works from the teacher's perspective. So this year on our online course, for the first time, we actually had more than half of our participants were non-doctors, so they were nurses, opticians, optometrists, physiotherapists, social workers, all kinds of health-related professionals, and as I said, this reasonably large group of administrators.
And I think your background in coming into this is from one of those backgrounds.
Yes, I am a teacher by profession. I taught primary school for 5 years in London, and then I moved on to become a faculty developer for medical education, working at one of the universities in Scotland, and I did that role for 7 years before leaving to do my PhD, and then come back to AMEE to use my faculty development skills again.
So it's a great example of how the course is of relevance to people who are interested in education, whose life is education, but are able to develop it in this particular way. So let's look at each of those courses a little bit more in detail, Claire, if you can help us with this. The first course I really want to talk about, because it's the beginning one, is Essential Skills in Medical Education, which is classically an online course. It's been running for at least 7 years now, a well-established course. How is that given out? We know it lasts for 12 weeks or maybe 10 weeks at the moment.
So it's a series of 2-week modules. They're structured to build on each other, so each one takes what you learned in the last one and expands on it in a different way. It's really grounded in practice, so people are encouraged. Each fortnight introduces a model, a tool or a framework that's helps you structure your teaching in a different way, and then the participants go and apply this in their own setting and write a short assignment about how this works in their own workplace. And so that course has tutor support all the way through. Each group gets one tutor, and the tutor grades the assignments and gives feedback. It's one of the things participants tell us they really like about this course actually, is that instead of one big lump of assignment at the end, they get to do a short assignment every 2 weeks. It makes it much easier to manage your time if you're on a limited schedule.
And of course each of the 2 weeks is closely focused on a particular key aspect of medical education. The one I like best is the SPICES model, which is an acronym which really tells us how we can structure a curriculum and how that can be applied if you're writing a course for your own discipline, or if you're a medical school thinking about how to revise your curriculum along the lines of the SPICES model.
It's another thing though that individual teachers tell us they like, is that they've never had the chance to think about curriculum before. Somebody else does that. The top people in your organisation plan the curriculum and you just deliver it, and they find being able to step back and look at why certain decisions are made really valuable.
So the key thing is that it's a different time to focus on things, and just looking at the ESME course as the overview of what is a doctor, what is a healthcare professions teacher. There's the SPICES program of revising the curriculum. There's different ways, 2 weeks on different ways of teaching, and teacher's tool bag. There's the assessment week, and then there's the research, I think, week is a...
No, research is a module that we only run for our students, actually. We have a full research course, which just launched this year for regular teachers.
What's that called?
So that's called Research, Essential Skills in Medical Education, or RESME.
RESME, yeah.
And it was very much a very requested course. It was one that people said was missing. There's not much out there if you're a beginning researcher, or even if you're a experienced researcher who's never had formal training in medical education research, because most doctors coming into education are familiar with clinical research, and it's very different. You're dealing with different skills and different types of research.
And I think that neatly highlights one of the, not problems, but issues, that medical education research is not the same thing as research in a discipline, in a scientific discipline. Different parameters are involved, aren't they?
Yeah, so that's what the RESME course is really helping people to get to grips with, where the differences are, why it's different, and how you can do better research.
Yeah. So RESME is one course in addition to the initial ESME course. What else is available?
So the other 2 online courses we have are ESME Assessment, which the name says it all, really. Assessment is another one of those really specialist subjects. If you want to get heavily into it and you need to do standard setting and quality assurance of your assessment, we can't cover that in the basic ESME course. So ESME Assessment covers all of those more in-depth elements of assessment. And then the other one we offer is a slightly different one. We call that one Skills in Action, and it's really a course about leading change in your organisation. So you come on the regular ESME course, you learn how to be a better teacher, you get some really good ideas about how you could change your curriculum, how you might change your assessment, and then you go back and there's all kinds of barriers to actually doing anything about this in your organisation. And so ESME Skills in Action is really quite a reflective course that runs over 8 weeks, and you bring the problem that you're stuck with and you work through it with the support of a tutor and a group. And it's not really about solving your problem, it's about dealing with manageable chunks of your problem at a time. I did that course myself and I found it really useful.
Fine.
And the other online course that we have, of course, that you are familiar with because you are the course lead, is our ESME student course, which is a really great course, I think, for budding educators. It was developed with students, for students, and it's one of my favourite courses to teach on. I find the students so inspiring. Their perspective on education is really fresh and really novel sometimes.
And of course it's exciting that students at that time of life are interested in education, and that gives us an impression of who are going to be the teachers of students in the future. And, certainly at the conference we meet lots of enthusiastic students who have a career ahead of them and now in medical education, and that does work, and we're pleased about that. Is there anything else which you think we should know about the ESME courses between the two conferences, and how to apply for them? Or
well, all of the information is on our website. That's kept up to date. As soon as the courses are available to book, the link goes live on the website and you can book them. Of course, if you want to book a conference course, that's different. That goes out with the programme. I think the other thing, though, is if you're looking at the website and the course you want is not available, then there is an email address and you can get in touch with us, and then we'll contact you when the course does go live.
So several different things which it's possible for us as a course attendees, conference attendees to sign up for during the year, and between now and the next conference it would be possible to have had some special experiences in learning aspects of medical education we're interested in. How do you think it makes a difference to individuals? Have you got any feeling of how an individual may be bettered by having done this course or a course?
Well, people tell us in their feedback it's making a difference, it's making their life easier, it's helping them look at things in a different way than they've looked at before, or it's even just helping them understand decisions that are being made above their head that they kind of thought of as bureaucratic or pointless. Suddenly the rationale behind them becomes understandable. But one of my favourite things is looking at the assignments. Because the assignments are so practically focused, people plan activities, assessments, lessons they're going to deliver. You can actually see the impact that it's having, because you can look at it and you can think, wow, that's actually a really good teaching session. I would like to be a student in that session. So I think it is having an impact both within the course and beyond the course. The face-to-face courses, the assignment is done at a later date, and that is one bigger piece of assignment or assessment, and the participants write essentially a short case study about what they've done with the course since they left, and some of those are really impactful. You can see that there has been real change at the other side.
And I've found that myself, having taught on face-to-face courses in conferences in different parts of the world, to have those essays sent back a few months later where participants have been able to describe how they've implemented what they learned during the course and use it to develop their own teaching situation has been a real insight and very, very exciting. And I liked what you said about students, because I think on the student ESME course, that's the opportunity for students to learn a vocabulary about how to argue the case for different improvements in medical education from their perspective, how to be able to be empowered to take part in faculty development discussions, and it does give students the edge, I think, and means that they're actually talking with some informed opinion on medical education, and that's why I think it's a very exciting course to be involved in. Claire, thanks very much for telling us all about the suite of courses that AMEE can offer under the ESME banner between one conference and the next one. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you for the opportunity to speak, John. And if any of our delegates would like to know more, the AMEE stand is there. Somebody there can help with information about the courses. And I personally would love to meet anybody who has done an ESME course online, and it would be really nice to see some of those people face to face.
And of course that just reminds us about the ESME alumni business, which we hope will take off quite quickly now. Thank you.